Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Good morning. First, I want to apologize about yesterday's vlog. First of all, that it got cut off in the middle of it, and I never picked the thought back up again, which I will talk more about today. And the second thing is that it went up late because I can't remember anything anymore, and I have all these reminders. Sometimes the reminders go off when I'm sleeping, and I'm supposed to sleep when I can sleep, and I have an insomnia at night, and then I want to sleep at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's like you're supposed to be awake, and oh my goodness. So please accept my apologies. The second thing is, let me apologize for, I have a new mini refrigerator right here to hold Jello and pudding. We actually got it for the car, but it has like a car adapter and a plug-in. So I said, in the meantime, while I'm here, Jimmy's going to be going back to work soon. With the chemotherapy and everything, I'm going to need sometimes I'm just going to need nutrition and not be able to get up very easily. So independence, here's to independence, yay. My first sip of coffee. It says early bird because I actually get up at like, I don't know, 3:30. Then I ended up falling back to sleep between 9:05 and 9:55. And that happened to be the hour that my husband woke up. So yesterday, I was trying to talk about hurt people who hurt people. And why do we hate on each other? Why do some people? And obviously not everybody does. And let's not focus on the negative people. But I want to focus on the root cause so that you can understand. And hold on a second. He's so fresh. My hair is doing its thing. I don't even know what it's doing. So sorry about that. Another conversation interrupt us. But anyway, I don't want to talk about hurt people who hurt people because I care about the fact that they're hurting people. Obviously, I care about you guys getting hurt. That's what my focus has always been, and why I addressed people who have, and I'm sorry that some people don't like the word ignorant. I just don't know any other uneducated, unknowing assumptions on others. And it bothers me because I don't want them to I don't want what they are assuming about me to reflect something that you feel like people assume about you. And I don't want it to hurt you. I've been this way my whole life, and I have I want to say a thick skin, but I can make my armor strong when I need it. And when those people have something to say, it's when I make my armor strong. But I've always watched out for you guys because not everybody has strong armor, and I know that. That being said, the address wasn't about what they're doing to hurt people. The thing I wanted to talk about was why. So the story that I left off before my sister Alicia called was I was talking about Chelsea, who's keto half-asser on TikTok and Instagram. And she was sharing another TikToker talking about the way they were described in middle school, and how she went on to talk about how a teacher really embarrassed her. And I didn't realize that's what she went on to talk about. I just addressed and I shared my story about how my teacher really embarrassed me, and how it affected my whole high school career. And one of the reasons I do what I do is because I learned to not, and obviously I was a teenager then, so you're 15, this is when you're learning, but as a 51-year-old, flipped from 15 is 51. As a 51-year-old, you realize that the opinions of others really doesn't matter. They really doesn't matter. Your family, your significant others, your loved ones, those types of things. Even those opinions don't create your self-worth. They don't always reflect your self-worth. They don't always justify your self-worth. I know that justify is not the right word, but I hope I'm coming across, because sometimes words escape me these days. So I was sharing a story about how when I was in, I was going to share a story on Instagram, how when I was in high school, I was a sophomore, and I was in my social studies class, and they were talking about Hitler, and the teacher said, "Miss Adams, I hope I can use you as an example that you would be Hitler's perfect woman because you have blonde hair, blue eyes, and broad hips." And it's not really something you want to point out to the peers of a 15-year-old, especially when Look, when I was growing up, kids weren't nice. Not all of them. Obviously, we had really nice kids. But I was poor and dirty and overweight, and I didn't always have the best hygiene because, money, sort of thing. It's not something we had prioritized when I was little. And kids weren't always nice. I grew up in a more affluent neighborhood, and I was definitely on the low end of the economic scale. But we had a home, so, we felt like we were doing good. I didn't realize until I got older that not everybody owned a home. Be honest with you, did you know that? And I knew this because we always had, not always, but since I was like 7 or 8, we had renters. So I knew that not everybody owned a home, but it was just weird to think like when there was a house that somebody didn't own that, As a child, anyway. Now as an adult, it's totally normal. But children weren't always nice. And I could point out a handful of them right now off the top of my head because their faces and names stick in me. Now, one of the things that the other people talked about was they didn't remember faces or names, or they remembered faces and not names, or names and not faces. I have a little bit more of a special case because I grew up in a very small town till I was in high school. We had the same 150 kids that we just, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I think it was like 150 kids that were in my class. And we just, this kid wasn't in your class in first and second grade, but he was in your class in third and fourth grade. And then you had sixth grade with him and such, like that kind of thing. And in middle school, I had one person that I really didn't like. And even since then, I've grown to have compassion because I realize now as an adult that people who hurt others either learn how to hurt others. It's like a learned behavior, and don't recognize that it's not the proper learned behavior until they're an adult, or they hurt themselves. And really that's what the whole focus of yesterday's conversation was going to be about. I don't know exactly if I was clear with the end of the conversation or how far into it we got, because I did talk about it, like I said, some on TikTok, on Instagram. So I don't always remember where I had a conversation. But, why do we hurt each other? It's our own lack of self-confidence. It's our own misinformation. It's our own biases. We put our own biases into everything, but literally that's what makes us a human race, is that we do only have our experience to judge something. But again, I will ask you, yes, people are very opinionated in the comments about I am on YouTube and I put my life out there for everybody to see. And I do air quotes with life because you obviously only see a little bit of it every day. And as much as I do share, there are things that I just are private between me and my husband that I don't. But anyway, you see my life out I put my life out on the internet, so it should be open to criticism. Well, no, really, because I share my life with somebody, it doesn't mean I want to be criticized about it. You have a difference of opinion of how my life should be, and that's okay. You're entitled to have your difference of opinion. You're also entitled to keep it to yourself. That's why this wasn't working. Sorry. Oh, where did that earbuds go? Here they are. Sorry. You're also entitled to keep your difference of opinion to yourself. We talked about it's a free country and people could say what they want. 100%. 100% they could say what they want. Should they? No. Not necessarily. If you see somebody being hurt, or at least you think someone's being hurt, you have to come from a place of concern. But what comes at me a lot of times is not, maybe it's masked in that way, or they'll say oh, I'm just saying because I care. I'm like, no, this didn't sound like caring. This sounded like criticism, and it sounded like You didn't like something about me, so you decided to open up about it. And again, okay, but maybe you want to keep that to yourself, you know? There is that old adage, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Then, you know, it was worded in Steel Magnolias, where if you don't have something nice to say, somebody come sit by me. But yeah. I guess what I mean by that is there's always somebody that you can share your negative opinions about others with if you really want to voice them. But think about why we say the criticisms. That's really what's important. Are you being critical truly so that I can learn something that you think I don't know after 51 years of being overweight? Do you think there's something that I haven't learned yet? Do you think there's something that I haven't been taught yet? Now, the only thing I will point out is that a lot more and more studies are coming out that it isn't behavior, it's genetics. And it's not just genetics, it's genetics and behavior. It's genetics and learned behaviors. It's genetics and coping mechanisms. Like, we don't teach coping mechanisms for things that are healthy always. And we learn this from our parents. And if we have addictive personalities in our parents, if your mom was an alcoholic, you might end up being an overeater. I mean, that's just the way it is. You may not turn to alcohol because you may not like the way it makes you feel, but you may turn to something else that is an addiction. So, sorry. Excuse me. So it's just really like, why? You know, that was really what the whole conversation was yesterday was supposed to be about. So, that being said, I have always tried, and I always encourage others, as they grow up, to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's sort of the great commandment, the golden rule, and built off of there, it's, you know, depending on which version of the Bible that you look at, it's treat others as you'd have to treat me, or treat others as you'd like to be treated, do unto others as you have done unto you. Like, all of these different ways is the way it's put in, but basically that's what it is. It's like, treat others how you want to be treated. Treat others as you would treat Jesus. Now, I know as a Christian nation, we fall very short of that because of the American Christian values. And I'm not dissing American Christians. I guess I am. The values of American Christians has changed quite a bit from Jesus's teachings, because politics has gotten involved in religion, which is kind of odd because, you know, they recognized 200 and plus years ago that was not a good mix, you know? Anyhow, but treat others as you want to be treated, and that's such an important thing. Like, do I get on the internet and start bashing somebody and how they look and their appearance, or their quality of life? I think, like, somebody gets on there and lights up a cigarette, do I give them, oh my God, you're gross because you smoke? No. Oh my God, you're having a beer? I'll use foul language, whatever. Like, it's not my business. And what's great about the internet and the television is you can always switch it. It's not 1972 where you only have 5 channels. It's obviously become a lot more different. It's become a lot more diverse. But with that becomes a lot more criticism and a lot more people being a lot more opinionated. Everybody wants to be Siskel and Ebert, but nobody wants to put in the work, you know? So I don't judge others. I mean, it's kind of, you're going to sound like, oh, she's crazy. I don't. Even my, like, mother-in-law or my husband, like, if I might talk about how I'm handling a situation or talk about a situation I have with either one of them, people jump on me like I'm being critical. I'm not being critical. First of all, because I mentioned them doesn't mean I'm talking about them. Especially, and that's one of the things that bothers me about, like, when I talk about people being ignorant to a situation. If I say I'm having trouble dealing with this situation with my husband, you get on me like I'm criticizing my husband. And I'm like, no, literally I led the sentence off with I'm having trouble dealing with the situation with my husband. My husband was like very, you know, like, you guys, like, oh gosh, I feel like this, okay. I'm the antagonist in the story. or I'm the protagonist in the story and he's the antagonist in the story, or one of those others. But I feel like there's some parts of language where I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me and how I'm having trouble dealing with the situation. I'm not talking about him. It just happens to be the situation that has to do with him. Same thing with mom. I have trouble breathing in here sometimes. And that doesn't mean I'm complaining about the smoke. That just means I have to do things to accommodate living with a smoker. I have to make sure I have air purifiers, and I have to make sure I keep my doors closed. And I have to make sure, because she's allergic to fragrance, that I keep just certain air fresheners that are like non-toxic type of thing, or not very strong. I mean, there's just, you do these accommodations because you love somebody and you live with them, and this is what you have to do. And sometimes it's learning all over again. I lived with a smoker for 28 years. The first 28 years of my life, I lived with a smoker. And then I didn't live with one for the next 15. That's it. That's how it goes. I didn't live one for the next 15. So 28 years with, 15 without, and the last 8 so far with. And I'm having to relearn what it's like. And my body has become adjusted. It's having to become readjusted. And now, of course, with the cancer, it's a little bit more difficult because my natural immune system is actually trying to fight all these negative, horrible things that are growing inside of me, which is why I go to immunotherapy to help boost my immune system. So yeah, so it's just a lot, and again, that's not me complaining about her. It is her house too. Do I sometimes think that my feelings aren't always considered? Yeah, but that's just really me being selfish to a certain extent. And it's not 100% selfish, because I have that self-preservation. I do have to consider my own health and things, but I have to deal with it. It's what it is. This is the what is it? Not the compromise, the contingencies, maybe? No. The conditions. This is the conditions of living in the group of the dynamic that I live in. I wanted to be here in case mom had any health issues as she got older. When she had health issues and we lived in New York, it was very, very difficult on my husband and me, because we wanted to be by her to help her out, but we weren't. And we talked about living together, and we talked about this was a condition of it. And I accepted those conditions before I moved in with her. Did I remember how difficult it might be, or did I think about how difficult it would be? No, I really didn't. But it is what it is at this point, right? So, that being said, all of that being said, if I come on and I vlog about my feelings or how I'm dealing with something, or even if I'm frustrated with something, or even if I do want to complain about something, that should be my priority. My prerogative. It's my prerogative. I do what I want to do. No, I'm kidding. But it should be my prerogative. It's my channel. It's got my name on it, type of thing, Did you come here because you really fell in love with that autumn wreath? Yes. Did you stay because you really liked the way I taught? Maybe. Did you stay because you liked my personality? Possibly. Did you stay because you liked my voice? I hear that a lot. Whatever reason, right now, this is the path that I'm walking on. This is the journey that I'm going on right now. And I'm grateful for whoever you are that you're coming along on this journey. So, again, I appreciate everybody. If nobody's told you today that you are loved, I love you. And it's really important that you know that. Because we all need to feel love from time to time. And I definitely feel the love from you guys every single day. And I want to make sure that you feel it back. You're watching this video on the day, New Year's Eve. So I hope, I started to mention in the previous video that I hope everybody has really good plans for New Year's. My father said my father said, my grandmother said, but My father said his mom told him that however your house is on New Year's Eve is how it'll be the whole year. So we always try to have a really nice, good, clean house to start off the new year with. I would love it if it was full with family and friends, but it is at this point what it is. Can't really, because of my immune system, be around lots of people. So yeah. Well, remember that I love you, and if you need to hear it from time to time, just pop on a video from the last 2 or 3 months, and even fast forward at the end if you need to, just to hear it. So I love you, and as always, you guys take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye, bye, bye. Hey, did I mention tomorrow is my first radiation treatment? Maybe not, but it is. Oh, good Lord.